Thank you all for coming today. I want to introduce you to Beacon. Our team, global nomads with over 35 years of international experience. So far, we have a manufacturing engineer, an affordable housing researcher that's done research for PwC and governments in Taiwan, an inclusive designer, and then Danny Kuo, who you'll be also hearing from today, is our advisor. He has over 20 years of commercial real estate experience. Me personally, I spent 4 years in the U.S. Army. Um, I went to the United States Military Academy at West Point, and then I've worked for Keller Williams, Triple Mint, Compass Sports Entertainment. Over about 8 years in real estate. I've worked in rentals, sales, ground up development, property management, and foreclosures. In 2022, I left New Jersey, went to Portugal, and I've been traveling for about 2 years straight. Getting feedback from our customers. I've stayed in Airbnbs that were set up as SROs, volunteered in hostels. I've worked in capsule hotels. I've built capsules. I've cleaned them, and I've also lived in micro studios. So I've done a lot of research on the product that we're presenting today. So let's get into it. So let's face it, the American dream is now the American nightmare. The average U.S. income needed to afford a typical home in the U.S. is 115,000 as of last year, 300% increase for millennials' housing costs versus baby boomers at the same age. And depending on who you ask, we need about 4 to 7 million affordable housing units to meet the current demand. 48% of current renters spend a third of their income renting an apartment or more. We have about 582,000 U.S. citizens that sleep in the streets or in homeless shelters every night. And there's 43 million U.S. citizens that have a total of $1.7 trillion in federal student loan debt, which keeps them from home ownership. So if we understand what's happening in America, we understand that the world typically follows. And so 70% of the population will live in urban cities by 2050. That's 5.6 billion people. Yet we believe that we can sustainably house these 5.6 billion humans in urban cities, but yet we can't house the current 4.4 billion that we have now. So everyone is on the same page. We understand that there's a problem. So what's currently happening right now? Well, we're in a race for affordable housing. And so regardless of what country you're from, if you're in real estate, you come across these different hurdles. So the first one is zoning. In America, we have 50 different states. That's 50 different requirements. That's 50 plus different cities. Home price to household income. 1985, it was about 3.5x. Right now, it's about 6x in 35-year time span. So then you have the hurdles of underwriting, supply and demand, and the party system. So we understand that most affordable housing projects don't pencil without government subsidies. That turns affordable housing into basically charity. And so we also understand that there's an inverse social and economic relationship with supply and demand. We want more supply because it's better socially for us. But the way that the economic system works, we really want that demand to keep that real estate price high. Uh, the fifth part is party system. So whether you're left or whether you're right, it doesn't really matter because there's no policy consistency and there's no thought cohesion. So one regime will come in and they'll put policies in place, and then the next regime will come in and they'll change that. And then lastly, all of the real estate professionals, we understand that real estate is a commodity. So real estate 101 is buy low and sell high. So in order for you to do that, you need to make sure that the housing prices continue to rise. So as long as the housing prices continue to rise and it's a commodity, we can't truly build enough affordable housing because the system itself is not built to support that. So what's our solution? Well, I'd like to introduce you to Beacon, which is a global network of micro-co-living spaces in the world's most expensive cities. So what does that mean? Well, accessing traditional apartments is increasingly costly and stressful. Currently, it costs about 6,500 US dollars to move into a one-bedroom apartment in California. That's at an average of about 2,100 a month. You have to apply, you go through the approval process, you have to have a credit score check, you pay your security deposit, which is usually 1 to 2 months, your first month rent. You may have to pay an agent or brokerage fee. You sign your lease, which is 3 to 12 months. You're locked into a short-term to long-term lease that gives you no flexibility to move locations. You get your furniture, you set up your utilities, and then you schedule the move-in. Well, with Beacon, it costs you $1,500 on average for access to the Beacon network, which is a 77% cost savings. So what does that journey look like? Well, you apply, we do a background check, proof of income, no credit check. Why do we not do a credit check? Because our business model is a membership and a subscription model. So you choose your membership, you connect either locally or globally. Local gives you access to your local state. Global gives you access to our international locations. And then the monthly subscription, 1,500 a month. There's no leases. You get 30-day access like a Netflix subscription, and you have the flexibility to move locations based on your membership type. So what does that look like? You choose how you connect, you choose how you live, you get a preview of your living space, you choose how you want to work, and then you join our community of nomads. Now, once you join our community, what do you get? You get an affordable, all-inclusive, and sustainable co-living space for one monthly payment. Unlimited high-speed Wi-Fi, fully stocked community kitchens, hygiene facilities, gym, self-service laundry, community lounges, co-working facilities, community events, and full digital assets. We start in San Francisco, but we have ambitions to go globally. Now, how do we do this? What makes us different from any other co-living space that is on the market right now? Our lighthouse pods. We have innovative living pods for a connected and sustainable urban future. They're comfortable, they're private, they're secure, and they're smart. Our single pod comes in at about 40 square feet. They're stacked, and our double pod comes in at about 60 square feet, which are pods that you can actually walk into. So what are we seeing currently going on in the world? We're moving from an age of ownership towards an age of access, and that's taking over traditional businesses, forcing innovation. The rental population right now, 75% of Gen Z are renters, 40% of millennials are renters, 33% of Gen X are renters. The subscription economy in 2025 will be worth $1.5 trillion, up 4.3% from the 2021 rate of 650 billion. In the US alone, digital nomads have increased 58% from 2019 to 2023, going from 7.3 million to 17.3 million. So as you can see in multiple different areas, the trend towards access is picking up. So our target market is single young professionals that want a sustainable urban lifestyle. And so we have a few numbers here for you. So if there's 43.6 million US single renters, 28.2 million are US millennial and Gen Z renters. If we were to get less than 1% of that market share, which is 100,000 people paying us 1,500 a month for 1 year, we're at $1.8 billion of gross revenue. Not a valuation, but gross revenue. And so current solutions in the market are not built to solve the affordable housing crisis. Now, Sequoia says that there's three different markets for a product. You have a non-existent category, a crowded category, and a stagnant category. Right now, we're in the non-existent category. Pods and SROs, as we all know, there's really a lot of disbelief around that. Co-living as a whole is starting to become more of a crowded market, and it's either a race to the top or a race to the bottom. And then affordable housing in each different country, you have your big name companies that are government recognized, but they're in a stagnant industry. So what sets us apart? Well, we see three phases of product market fit growth. Starting in that non-existent category, the barrier to get over is that disbelief. It's the yeah, right. So how do we do that? We use adaptive reuse of distressed commercial real estate into micro co-living spaces. There are 1.8 billion square feet of vacant commercial property in the US right now, and we're going to take advantage of that. Once we've gotten over that disbelief, we move more towards the crowded co-living area, but we have to break through that noise. How do we break through that noise? Well, now we've been accepted as an actual viable option. So now our professionals are saying, well, help us now. And so the way that we break through that noise is ground up micro co-living spaces through off-site manufacturing, which allows us to build faster and also allows us to build for a lower cost. And then finally, how do we change affordable housing as a whole? How do we break through that status quo? Well, the way we see that is industrialized construction. Because we're using pods, because we're using SROs, we can turn that into an actual product, and we can do design for manufacturing, where now we're able to work with more stakeholders and are able to manufacture similar to the way that vehicles are. So that way we can start to really build more of these buildings and close that gap for affordable housing. So we are a Delaware C Corp. We're raising 750K via SAFE. What is that for? Is to finish engineering and prototypes of our single and our double pod, complete our spatial program and typologies, interior design, furniture, fixtures, and equipment for our living and working spaces. And then we want to manufacture and deploy our 50 pods to our first concept location in San Francisco to get over that barrier of disbelief. And so if you're a trailblazer like us, we'd love to talk to you. We're looking to connect with architects, developers, engineers, and investors. My email is dave@beaconcoliving.com. You can find me on LinkedIn at David Michael. And I'll leave you with one last thing, a quote from FDR: "The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today." Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,